This is the Nikon ZR. In some strange places, it's often referred to as the NIKON ZR. And this is the Nikon Z6 III. And they're very similar cameras, same sensor, and most of the same internals. I mean, the ZR is essentially a video-orientated version of the Z6 III. And they both look great. Well, maybe not the ZR right now, both recording in the same codec, H.265, but the Z6 III looks much nicer. It's crispier. But if they are essentially the same camera inside, why is this? In this video, you'll see lots of image comparisons between the two cameras to highlight the ZR's problem. But if you're watching this on your phone, it's unlikely you'll be able to tell them apart. But it's not just H.265 that has the issue. I'm in ProRes HQ right now on the ZR, and of course on the Z6 III, which looks better. The fact that ProRes HQ looks so much worse than the Z6 III's and only marginally better than the ZR's H.265 is particularly bad, given the huge size difference in bit rates. I've had numerous people say to me, why do you want to use the ZR for anything but RAW? When what they really should be saying is, yes, it should look as good as the Z6 III. For me, having a great quality non-RAW codec in a camera is essential. I don't need RAW for most of the things that I shoot. I would if the file sizes weren't so big and they didn't bloat my editing storage. My main Sony cameras don't shoot internal RAW, and that's fine. Whilst it's nice to have this option, for me having a great internal non-RAW codec is much more important. And my Sonys, Canons, Lumix cameras, and Fuji ones all have great options. I asked some Z6 III owners if it had the same problem, and they told me it looked much better, so I had to see for myself. And yes, it indeed does. It's like putting on my glasses. Everything becomes nice and detailed, although the ZR is a bit more flattering for me. By putting on a body cap and massively pushing up the exposure in post, you can see the noise pattern of the recordings. Because YouTube compression makes it impossible to see it properly, this is a 400% crop as well as a still frame. This is the ZR's Nikon RAW. This is what we want to see from electronic noise. It's fine and consistent with no crazy patterns, unlike the ZR's H.265 log. These weird patterns are due to the heavy noise reduction. You can also see some weird green flashes. It's incredibly ugly, but also strangely hypnotic. The Z6 III's H.265 log is nothing like this. It's much more like the Nikon RAW noise. This is great, and what the ZR needs to look like. The ZR's ProRes HQ noise reduction isn't as bad as the H.265, but it's still not good when you compare it to the Z6 III's ProRes HQ and the ZR's Nikon RAW. Another side effect of the strong noise reduction is motion looks a bit smeary, almost like your shutter speed is too low. Everything I've been showing and talking about to this point has been about N-Log in H.265 and ProRes HQ. Until I made this video, I've only ever shot in N-Log with this camera. But after lots of tests and experimenting with the non-log profiles of these two codecs, they mostly look so much better with regards to noise reduction and detail. It was these tests that took by far the most amount of time in this video. Nikon don't make things easy. So in ProRes HQ, if you don't shoot in N-Log, you can shoot in SDR. In H.265, you can additionally shoot in HLG. Most of the shots in these modes look great. What N-Log should look like on the ZR with regards to detail and noise reduction. But it's really important that you get your settings right. So putting the body cap on, you can clearly see how that N-Log heavy noise reduction isn't present when shooting in H.265 here. But when you're in the standard profile, that hideous noise reduction of N-Log is back. It's a different color, but it's just as aggressive. But with the Z6 III in standard profile, it's fine. This is only with the ZR. This makes no sense to me. So I switched to ProRes HQ on the ZR, and yeah, they're all fine, including the standard profile. This is the first time I've seen a huge difference between H.265 and ProRes HQ with this camera. You also need to adjust the sharpness settings, because by default, they are too high. The quick sharpness setting at the top here is different depending on which color profile you're in. After countless tests, I think you should just set all these sharpness parameters to 0. Now I can't be 100% sure, but I think that the negative sharpness settings are digitally softening the image. And with the clarity setting, yeah, there's no question. I reached this conclusion by comparing the detail to the same shot in Nikon RAW and R3D, and matching it. It's always such a pain trying to make sense of things like this, and Nikon have made this camera particularly challenging to make sense of. So if I got things a bit wrong, I'm sorry, I can only do my best. I like the flat profile the best, and if you want to make it flatter, you can bring the contrast down too. It's not exactly log, and it won't work with any of your LUTs, but it's a nice base to work with. HLG will have the best dynamic range, but you've got to make sure you get your exposure spot on or it will be noisy. If you're using DaVinci Resolve, you can do a color space transform to turn it into log if that workflow is better for you. When you're in log, you can't change the sharpness setting. It's only in these other profiles, which is good, as in-camera sharpening is about as welcome as in-camera noise reduction. It's always best to do both of these in post, which is why RAW is so appealing, as it doesn't have in-camera processing. I hate in-camera noise reduction, and I've been bugging camera manufacturers about it for years. The only one that's listened to me is DJI, when they added noise reduction and sharpness parameters to their drones, starting with the Mini 3 Pro. And it's also in their action cameras, the 360 camera, and the Pocket 3. But for mirrorless cameras, we aren't so lucky. Sony, Panasonic, Nikon, Fuji and Canon don't give us the ability to control it. Although both Nikon and Fuji do give you an option for high ISO noise reduction, so yes, an option to add even more. My Sony FX6 does have the option to turn it off, and because of this, it makes it a superior camera to the A7S III and FX3 for high ISO filming. When you go very high with those, it can look quite ugly. The only option to bypass it is to record in RAW to an external recorder, which is what I did back in 2020, God, almost 6 years ago, in my A7S III review down on Brighton Beach. If you're shooting any of the 3 RAW internal codecs of the ZR, it looks great. If you're shooting any of the only 2 internal RAW codecs of the Z6 III, it also looks great. It's just that Z6 III has the option of shooting in the non-RAW codecs. It looks good. It's an older camera. It's a stills focused camera. You're the video focused camera. So when you're shooting in RAW, there's absolutely no noise reduction applied in camera. But the thing is, you often do need to have some, but you do it in post. In really high ISOs, it's obviously really needed. But again, you'll always get superior results by applying it in post rather than having the camera bake it in like the N-Log has currently. This is a pretty short video for me, but I still need to pause briefly. Don't skip, hang on, to thank the sponsor of this video, Storyblocks. It really helps if you watch these integrations, as they make it possible to make these videos. They're easily one of my favourite sponsors to work with. I was using them for years before they started sponsoring my videos. They've helped me out of a hole so many times when I needed shots for things that I just can't get, both for this channel and even for my One Man 5 Cats one. I've even contributed some shots of everything from wild animals on safari to my much missed dad puffing on the Monte Cristo. There's a lot more than just video. There's templates, images, music, sound effects, and much more. Everything on Storyblocks is pre-cleared and 100% royalty-free, so you don't have to worry about that side at all. You get unlimited downloads for a single, predictable subscription cost. So to get started, head here or click the link in the description. Thank you very much for not skipping watching this. Let's get back to some noise. So what's going on? Why has Nikon added this strong noise reduction to N-Log in H.265 and ProRes HQ when it's not present in the Z6 III? I don't know. I mean, conspiracy theorists say it's to artificially inflate the dynamic range figures. The camera's dynamic range is quite mediocre, and this is in RAW, but in H.265 it's higher because the noise floor is much cleaner, but at the cost of detail, as we've seen. But even then, it's nowhere near the 15+ stops Nikon claim. So I've stopped shooting in N-Log with ZR in H.265 and ProRes HQ because of the issues I've shown in this video. For simple YouTube B-roll, I'm shooting in the flat SDR profile, and for shots like this, I use Nikon RAW in the normal compression, which is half the size of the high setting and of R3D. As far as I can see, it looks as good as those. In fact, when editing in Premiere, these files are actually treated as R3D and have the same pipeline. I would be surprised if Nikon didn't add a more compressed version of R3D to match the lower quality setting for Nikon RAW. ProRes RAW? No, I don't touch that, as those file sizes are ridiculous. The good news though is this should be fixable with a firmware update. And apparently Nikon have very good history with addressing issues with firmware updates. Apparently the Z6 III had the same flashing thing that we had in the shadows on the ZR, and they fixed it. Before the ZR was released, we already knew that they were going to update firmware to give it ProRes LT. And this is great. To have an iframe codec that's not as big as the HQ would be wonderful to have, but only if they address the noise reduction issue. Otherwise, it's absolutely pointless. I really like the Nikon ZR. I have enjoyed using it over the past 3 months or so. I mean, it is mostly for that screen, of course, but there's definitely other things I like about it. And the image does look great when you shoot in RAW. I just need Nikon to fix the issues that we have in the non-RAW codecs, so I can have video that looks as great as the Z6 III without having to resort to RAW on the ZR. I am confident that this will happen, and if they do, then I'm sure I will be using the ZR a lot more. So Z6 III, thanks very much for helping me see what the image can look like from a Nikon mirrorless in the non-RAW codecs. I'm not going to keep you, you've got to go back now.